Hey, it's Rob B here with Rob D, and you, of course, are listening to the Property Podcast. This week, we've got the small goal of transforming your life through the inputs that you use. And we've got a super exciting launch that you can take advantage of today.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us on the Property Podcast. I am Rob D with Rob B. And yes, today we're going to help you change your life in 20 minutes or less. But do stick around for that announcement at the end, because it's going to give you yet more great information that you can put to great use. We're living in a very different world from how we were 20 or even 10 years ago. There's so much more information that you can take in through channels that weren't available to us until the last few years. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is largely up to you. There's so much information out there that you can be overwhelmed by it. Now, having all the world's information at your fingertips, being able to be plugged into what everyone else is doing at any single moment, is an amazing thing. It's a superpower, the kind of thing that people in the past couldn't have even dreamed of. But it's your responsibility to make wise use of it. It's very easy to be overwhelmed and have it suck up large amounts of your time and have your emotions dictated by what you read and what you see as well. Now, we're in the same position as anyone else. The way that we use these tools, the way that we use this information isn't perfect, but we've developed some techniques, some tactics, some tweaks that you can make to help you filter out what is unhelpful and focus on what's going to make you happier and what's going to give you the information that you need to succeed in whatever it is you're trying to do. So in this episode, we're going to take you through all the different channels through which information is available to you and talk about some of the ways that we've found of shaping them and getting more benefit out of the way we use them. So Rob, why don't we start with a difficult one? Let's start with the biggest time suck of all, social media. Surely there's no way of taming that beast.
Well, the good news is you can. And you can make your social media very useful and impact your life in a positive way if you're disciplined. But if left untamed, social media can dominate your time and your life and not only drag all your time away, but often fill it with negativity as well. So, what can you do? Well, first of all, is cut out that negativity. If you find a particular social media platform is negative, consider stop using it. I found that Twitter was pretty negative, so I dramatically cut down my use there. And the amount of time I spend in Twitter now is minimal. I still access Twitter, and I'll access it from my desktop, but I don't have it on my phone anymore. And I'm also very, very careful on who I follow. So the information that comes into my Twitter feed, but also I block certain keywords, which you can do there now as well. So the term Brexit and politics and things of that nature are blocked on my phone. And the names of certain politicians are also blocked because I just don't want to see people's strong opinions on those people or subjects anymore, because most people end up being quite negative. Conversely to this is follow positive people. People who are doing interesting and positive things in their lives. I find Instagram as a platform, quite different to Twitter, is quite positive as a place to be. And a lot of inspiration can be found there. And you can follow certain hashtags that can be positive in nature that you are constantly fed. So social media doesn't have to be a negative experience. It can be a very positive and rewarding experience. You just got to make sure you follow the right people and block out the negativity.
There are also some tools that you can use to increase the signal to noise ratio. And we'll be talking about quite a few tools in this episode. You'll find all the links in the show notes. But the first one is a Chrome extension that blocks the Facebook newsfeed completely. And that might sound a bit strange because you might think that the point of Facebook is the newsfeed. But what I find is that there are groups on Facebook that are useful to me. And in fact, Facebook is having a push to get more and more people into groups. They're going to make that a bigger part of the platform. So it seems a shame to write off the whole platform. But what I was finding was I'd go into Facebook to head to a group, and then my attention would be hijacked by the newsfeed. So what this extension does is it just blocks it. So you can't see it at all. You go into Facebook and there's just a blank screen. So you don't get distracted on the way from the homepage to wherever it is that you want to go. There's also another tool that I find useful when it comes to Twitter, because Twitter's good for pointing you towards interesting things. There's often lots of useful links that are shared, but I've just got no interest in all the negativity. And for some reason, I agree, Rob, as a platform, it seems there's something about it. There's something about the way that you communicate on there that tends towards negativity and being argumentative. And I just don't want anything to do with that. But I do want to know what people are linking to. So there's an app called Nuzzle. What you do is you plug in the list of people you're following. You can plug in lists as well, and it just extracts those links. And anything that's interesting, you can add to Pocket or Instapaper or whatever it is that you use to read later. So I think those tools are great because it means that you don't have to swear off social media completely, but you can just block out the harmful aspects and use it for the bits that are useful or interesting to you. So that links us into talking about reading. What should you be reading if you want to transform your life and have the right information in front of you? Well, I've already mentioned tools like Instapaper and Pocket, which are really helpful for saving articles to read later. So if you can find quality articles, these tools means that you can read them later, even when you're offline. The other nice thing about Pocket, especially, Instapaper does it as well, but I don't think it does it as well, is that it's got recommendations built in. So as you save more to Pocket and as you read more, it learns about what you're interested in. And it recommends articles to you based on what other people have been reading and recommending that it knows or it thinks from your history are going to be relevant to you. And in my experience, it's pretty spot on. So it's useful as a way of finding new things as well. But a lot of the time when you read something, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other and you can't remember it a few minutes later. And that's where making notes or highlighting is really useful. Now, both the apps that we've mentioned have highlighting and note-taking functions. There's also a service called Readwise that we've mentioned in Hub Extra in the past that takes all the highlights that you've made in different articles and different books and surfaces them for you in a daily email. So you're reminded about things that you found useful in the past and you're more likely to remember them. So that's a useful tool as well. Now, there's a caveat here. I said good quality articles, not news. For the most part, if you want to be happy and you want information that you can do something with, news is best avoided. There's some really good analysis out there that you can read after the fact, but in terms of what's happening day to day, it's not very helpful. If you take all the time that you currently spend reading news and you allocate that time to reading really great books, and we recommend books on the podcast all the time, it's going to be so much useful and it's going to make you feel so much better as well.
The other thing that's going to make you feel so much better is getting your phone under control. So many people let their phone dictate their life. You only have to go on any train in the country or any bus and just look around and see that everybody has their heads in the phone. And you know what? Maybe that's just the way things are. But it's what people are doing with the phone that's going to make the difference. So many people waste time. And you know what? My weakness with a phone is there too. I'm guilty as charged. My phone, if I let it, would absolutely dominate my time with the wrong information and things that are just basically a time suck and a time drain. But your phone can become an incredible asset if you use it the right way. So here are a few things that you can do which can really make a switch to your life if you get your phone under control. The first thing is, on your home screen, only have applications or services that add to your life. So, social media, it's okay to have it, but you don't want it dominating things. So don't have that on your home screen. Games, if you have to have them, don't put them on your home screen. On my home screen, for example, is I have a map, I have weather, we have Pocket, the app we've already discussed, Audible, a podcast app, a meditation app, a sleeping app, and a few other bits. But that's it. It's only then when I scroll across, I get to the other stuff. Now, when I scroll across, I have everything in files on my iPhone. But in those folders, I only have one app on the front. And I have the rest on the second page. So when I flick across my screen, I can't see those other apps. So there's less chance of me just randomly clicking into them going, oh, what's happening on Instagram right now? It's the same with work as well. There are some work apps that I'm more addicted to. So I keep those on the second page. And if I do download a game, which is very occasionally now, I bury that so deep that I really have to put effort in to go and find it. It sounds extreme, but it really will change how you use your phone because your home screen is dominated by things that are going to improve your life or improve yourself. And the other big one, and this is one that Rob and I have been practicing for a long time, is disable your notifications. Not just your screen pinging to let you know you've had a message, but actually just the badges on there as well. They're distracting too. Turn off all notifications. The only notifications I get on my phone is a phone call. No other notifications appear. No other badges. That's it. I only let phone calls get through to me.
So that's the information that's available to you on your phone. What about listening? What about audio information? Well, you're already making the best choice you could possibly make when it comes to what to do with your ears. You're listening to the Property Podcast. And there are lots of other great podcasts out there as well as audiobooks. If you don't get a lot of time to read, but you do get time in the car, then that can be a brilliant way to take in great books. The shift to make is away from the radio. Now, there are great programs on the radio, but most of those are available in podcast form, so you can listen to them when it's most convenient to you. But just listening to the radio passively means one of two things. Either it's just entertainment and it doesn't really do much for you, or it's news or talk shows on the radio. They're going to make you angry and fill your head with things that aren't going to help you. If your commute to work is 45 minutes, you can choose what mindset you want to arrive in. You can arrive having the weight of the world's problems put on your shoulders and having learned about all the terrible things that are going in the world and having listened to people argue the whole way. Or you can arrive having just learned something really new and exciting that you can apply during your day. I've heard from so many people who've shifted from listening to the radio in the car to listening to podcasts, and none of them ever shift back. So far, this has all been relatively easy. These are all just habits that you need to form or break, or little shifts you need to make. The next one, Rob, is a little bit more tricky. This comes with a few more consequences. It might make you a little bit less popular. But this is about the people that you surround yourself with.
The people around you really shape your life. There's a saying that says you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most of your time with, and that really rings true. If you are surrounded by negative people, then your life probably feels a bit negative. If you're surrounded by positive people and inspiring people, well then your life probably will reflect that too. The world is made up of all different people, and that makes things really interesting. And I really like meeting different people. But the people I don't like meeting are negative people. I'm allergic to negative people. I've had tests. It's been proven. I do not like negative people, and I refuse to spend my time with them. And that includes some family members as well. Luckily, none in my house, but there are family that I find very negative, and I will go out my way to spend as little as time possible with them. I know it sounds extreme, but my environment, my life is so important to me that I want to be surrounded by people who are positive. That's my only criteria. You don't have to be exceptionally positive. You don't have to be doing anything wacky or crazy in your life. You could just be a normal person, but not negative. Because negative people bring you down. In our business, for example, we're very lucky that people stay with us for a long time and turnover is low. But the times when we've had to encourage people to move on, it's normally been because of their negativity. Because we've got such a great team at Property Hub that negative people will quickly bring down the great work that we're all doing. And allowing negative people in your life is toxic. So this is easy to say, and I understand for people maybe harder to do. But I promise you, if you be brave and start to cut out people like that in your life, or certainly just spend less time with them, you will notice a huge difference in your own happiness and mindset. And if you can replace those negative people with optimistic, positive, inspiring people, well then your life and the trajectory of your success will be very, very different.
Now, before you go and divide your friends and family off into lists of people you're going to keep talking to and those you don't, let's leave you with something that's not going to make as much of an impact to your life, but still can be either a big waste of time or really, really valuable. And that's YouTube. YouTube's one of those things I talked about earlier that barely existed 10 years ago, but now has kind of taken over the world. There are so many people, me largely included, who don't really watch TV anymore, but watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. And that's because it's kind of like podcasts in that you don't just have to watch what the people in charge of a few channels have decided is worth putting in front of you. Anyone can upload absolutely anything. And that means if you look deep enough, there's going to be something that's perfectly tailored for you. Again, though, you need to take control of this. YouTube's priority is keeping you on YouTube so it can show you more adverts. And therefore, if you leave it to its own devices, if you just look at the defaults that it gives you, then it's going to gravitate towards things that are emotionally powerful, but not particularly useful. But there's so much that you can learn on YouTube. There are some incredible channels. You just need to spend a bit of time finding them and then tailor your subscriptions. If you go and subscribe to channels that you think are going to be useful to you, that are aligned with your interests, then when you go into the YouTube app, it will show you the latest videos from those channels. So rather than choosing from a selection of generic entertainment, you're choosing from things that you've already identified as something that you want to take in. And again, just like social media, this is something you need to curate and something you need to keep working on. If there's a channel that's just not doing much for you anymore, then unsubscribe, filter, And when you come across new things that are good, add them in. Keep on filtering and curating, and you can guide yourself away from the cat videos, although I do like a good cat video every so often, and towards things that are going to help you do better or be better in whatever way that is, whether that's with your job or with a hobby or with property investing.
So this takes us on very nicely, Rob, to something we've been teasing throughout this episode, something that's really going to improve people's lives and something we've put a lot of time into. I think we shouldn't hold back any further and just reveal what we've been up to. Well, we've created our own YouTube channel.
Yes, we have, because we've recognised how powerful and how important YouTube can be. And there's certain information that it can be a better way of passing on. So if you go over to YouTube now and you search Property Hub, you'll find our channel. And on our channel, you'll find a few videos that we've created that are brand new. And every week, we're going to be adding at least one new video covering something that you won't find on the podcast or anywhere else. Now, this has involved us getting on camera. Yes, this is no longer audio only. So if nothing else, just head on over there out of morbid curiosity. But I strongly encourage you to go over to YouTube, search Property Hub, hit subscribe, then you won't miss it every time we release a new video.
Yeah, this is big for us. The commitment we've given to the podcast will be the commitment we're going to replicate and give to the YouTube channel. We want that to be really, really useful. And hopefully you found the podcast that way. So add this to your arsenal. Add this to one of those inputs in your life that gives you positivity, that gives you information, that educates you, that helps you better yourself. Like Rob said, make sure you subscribe. And also, there's a little bell there as well. If you click on that bell on our page, it will mean that you get notifications every time there is a new video uploaded. We're really committed to bringing you high quality education for free, and this is another way of doing that. And as Rob said, it's a great opportunity. Our first podcasts were pretty ropey. If you go back and listen to the beginning, we were a bit awkward. You now have that same enjoyment and experience as you watch us get to grips with video. So go and have a look, check us out, be kind, and enjoy the content we're creating.
So I've really enjoyed this episode. I think this stuff is important. Some of it feels like it's a bit tactical, like it's just the odd little tweak here and there. But if you put it all together, I think it adds up to something really fundamentally very important. Changing your input, and that in turn is going to make an enormous difference to the quality of your life and the quality of the results that you get. So those are our tips. We'd love to hear yours. You can let us know on the forum, or if you're still using social media, which you should be, just a bit more intelligently, then you can find us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as Property Hub UK. We are, of course, going to be back same time next week. But until then, head over to YouTube, search for Property Hub and hit subscribe. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.